All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I would like to say, call halal Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. That is to say, all praise to the Most High God, whose name is Yahweh, in the name of his only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, through the Holy Spirit, Rakakwadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of the great millstone who taught us this truth. Shalom to the 144,000, as well as to the rest of the hopeful righteous elect, men, women, and children of Israel, scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth among the heathen, as well as those that even look like the heathen. All right, this is not a black or white thing. I'm the brother Yara Donba from the GMS branch here in Chicago, coming back at you with what I hope to be another short yet edifying lesson. All right, and the title of this lesson is going to be something to the extent of application of the word is important. All right, this is something that we just can't read about and talk about. We actually have to be about these things, man. Practice what you preach, so to speak. All right. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and start here in the book of James, the first chapter. And I just start at actually, I'm going to start up a little bit because it's a lot of good stuff in here. I start at verse 19 because it's going to tie into a few of the precepts that I want to bring out, because this lesson was brought through the Spirit. I was talking to a brother about how we are blessed to be able to actually apply these scriptures, and it's something as small as knowing when and when not to hold your tongue, man. That's something that if we apply that to our day-to-day life, it goes that much more smoother, man. And, that's applied to applying what the scriptures say about dealing with your wife or your kids, or if you're a woman dealing with your husband or walking throughout this day-to-day life, man, applying these things to your scripture, applying the scriptures to your life, it makes things go smooth, way more smooth than it would be if you tried to go against the grain, So this is the book of James, chapter 1 and verse 19. It says, "Wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, and slow to wrath. For the wrath of man worketh not the righteousness of the Most High. Wherefore lay apart all filthiness and superfluity of naughtiness, and receive with meekness the engrafted word, which is able to save your souls." I want to look up this word, engrafted. I think I did it before. I just can't remember what it says. Let's see. Yep.
Strong's G 1721, Emphutos. Emphutos.
Emphutos, inborn, implanted by nature, implanted by other instruction. Implanted. So if something is implanted in you, you do it. And of course we know, especially when we get those new bodies, the word will be in us, man. It will be written in our heart. All right. We won't even have to think about these things. But now we should be meditating on these things day in and day out. And that should be what guides us as we go throughout our day-to-day life. All right. It says, verse 22, and this was the point that I really wanted in this chapter, "But be ye doers of the word and not hearers only, deceiving your own selves. For if any be a hearer of the word and not a doer, he is like unto a man beholding his natural face in a glass. For he beholdeth himself and goeth his way, and straightway forgetteth what manner of man he was. But whoso looketh into the perfect law of liberty and continue therein, he being not a forgetful hearer, but a doer of the work, this man shall be blessed in his deed." So you have to be a doer of the word, right? When you see these different things, when you're reading, when you're watching the videos and you read or hear something that you can add to your day-to-day life, you work on that, man. All right. This thing is about constant growth. The Apostle Aram says it all the time, man. Either grow or go. We always have to be in constant growth, man. All right. I wanted to get this word here for liberty. Because this is how we should be living our life.
Strong's G 1657, Eleutheria. Eleutheria.
Eleutheria. It says, and I'm going to get straight to the point. And on the definition 3, it says, "True liberty is living as we should and not as we please." All right. So there you go. We should be living as we should and not as we please. And living as we should is walking after the ordinances to the best of our ability, man. Following the word to the best of our ability. All right. Continuing on in verse 26, it says, "If any man among you seem to be religious and bridleth not his tongue, Be this, but deceiveth his own art. That man's religion's heart. This man's religion is vain. Pure religion and undefiled before the Most High and the Father is this: to visit the fatherless and widows in their affliction, and to keep himself unspotted from the world. So there you go, man. You had that's another one. Bridleth your tongue, you know. And like I said, me and the brother was talking about just something as simple as knowing when to speak and when not to speak. You know, that takes you far, man. It takes you very far. And the first precept we both thought of was this one right here, and I'm gonna read it in the GNT as well. All right, this the book of Sirach, chapter 21 and verse 26. It says, actually, I'm gonna start up a little bit. This is Sirach 21 and 25. It says, the lips of talkers will be telling such things as pertain not unto them, but the words of such as have understanding are weighed in the balance. Think about what you say. Verse 26, the heart of fools is in their mouth, but the mouth of the wise is in their heart. Right? So there you go. And I want to read this in a Good News translation as well, because it makes it pretty plain. This Sirach 21, and I'll read 25 again in the Good News translation. It says, presumptuous people talk about things that are none of their business, but the wise will consider the consequences of what they say. Fools say what comes to mind. Wise people think before they speak. You know, and I believe it's the Elder Yarmai who always makes who has that quote. He says, a wise man has something to say. A fool always has to say something. All right, and that's the difference. And that, as you can see, is backed up by the scriptures, man. You don't always have to say what's coming to your mind. That's why this says this. Let me see. Speak. This is Sirach 32 and verse 7. It says, speak, young man, if there be need of thee, and yet scarcely when thou art twice asked. Let thy speech be short, comprehending much in few words, but as one that knoweth and yet holdeth his tongue. Right? If thou be among great men, make not thyself equal with them. And when ancient men are in place, use not many words. Why is that, man? Because we have to be listening. The more you listen, the more you learn. The more you be quiet and you just observe, man, you learn a lot when you're around great men. When you're around people, you learn. You see how people, even let's say, even if you amongst the indiscreet, you know, if you just sit there and watch people, you see the folly that they own, man, and you see why you can't trust these niggas. All right, let's go ahead and get this in the. I want to get this in the GNT as well, and this might be it. You know, but I just wanted to touch on this topic, man. Applying these scriptures to your. Actually, I do want to get that Psalms 119 as well, but you have to applying these different things. Like I said, this is the topic that came up with between myself and the brother, and I just wanted to put it on wax. You know, that was all right. 7. This the book of Sirach, chapter 32 and verse 7. It says, if you are, in the Good News translation, if you are young, don't speak unless you have to, but never more than twice, and only if someone speaks to you first. Come to the point and say it all in few words. Show that you are well informed, but stay quiet. Don't treat important people as if you were equal, they're equal, and don't make a nuisance of yourself by asking them a lot of questions. You know, but there you go. Really just knowing when to hold your tongue and when to speak. You know, that's balance. It's a time for everything. And I wanted to get this Psalms 119, you know, because this is the mindset that we always have to remember and be in. I want to say it's down closer to here. Yep. Psalms 119 and 105. Actually 104. Through thy precepts I get understanding, therefore I hate every false way. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. I have sworn and I will perform it, that I will keep thy righteous judgments. So there you go, man. The word has to be what guides us. It has to be what illuminates our path and allows us and what guides us forward. All right, so Lord willing, this was an edifying lesson. With that, I want to say, Call Halal Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rekakwadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of the great millstone who taught us the truth. Shalom to the 144,000, as well as to the rest of the hopeful righteous elect, men, women, and children of Israel scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth, man. Shalom, Kwam Esharallah, Wa Abba Babal.